Indeed, it looks like India is in for a treat tomorrow, but it's the same old man at the very front. There you can see him, Sebastian Vettel, alongside his teammates Mark Webber and Lewis Hamilton. A strong performance from him, and we'll talk about Lewis's teammates' performance in just a moment. But first, it was shaping up to be so nice, Eddie. Almost all of the cars out on track with 2 or 3 minutes to go, bar the guys that didn't run properly in that session. It was set up for an exciting and dramatic finish to Q3, and sadly, with that incident with Massa, it didn't quite turn out like that, did it?
Well, that's often the case, and I think we talked earlier about making sure you had your banker in place. You know, just waiting to the last moment and then you have this happen, because you know for sure instinctively the yellow flag is going to come on. And it'll be interesting to see if the boys in the commentary are right or not, but you have to then think about what happened to Lewis Hamilton. He got docked 3 places, so it's an interesting call. I don't know how the judges are going to see this one.
Now, there'll be plenty of people watching this who clunk into curbs with their road car as hard as that, and all they end up with is a slightly damaged alloy wheel and a bit of cursing. So just explain why a Formula One car would suffer such huge damage.
Well, actually, I think this was one big hit. Look, he goes completely, you don't see it yet, just watch, bang. That was a big hole. I see most of these cars, I'm often surprised that the suspension doesn't break earlier, because they climb over the curb time on and time again. And so there was obviously a big problem at the track there. He went too far. I mean, his apex was completely wrong. You can't blame the track for that. That was down to the driver.
OK, so that's all driver error.
Absolutely, in my book.
OK, and then we move on to the incident that happened just after that, which was Jenson Button. The guys have made the point up in the commentary box that after the incident, you need a green flag.
Correct.
The question, though, is did Jenson Button react to what was a yellow flag? Because surely that's what the stewards will want to know. Well,
they will have a look at the telemetry and they'll want to see, you know, there's a tracer, very clear, and McLaren will be asked to make sure that this information is given to them. It's all there in the box anyway. So the stewards, they're not going to be fooled by anything, and if Jenson has been correct, then he's clear. If he has made a mistake, they will punish him, I presume. Hopefully not in this case, because obviously he didn't seem to do anything wrong.
OK, well, we've heard the thoughts from David, Eddie and Martin as well. So let's hear from Jenson Button in just a few moments, who I believe is arriving with Lee Mackenzie. We'll speak to him in a moment. What kind of sanctions, though, could the FIA place upon him?
Well, it just depends on how they view it. I think there would be some sympathy for him, but nevertheless, his teammate has had a penalty, and they will...
3-place penalty,
exactly, yeah. And so you have to be seen to be transparent. You have to seem to be fair. And we've heard that Lewis is called to question some of the results that have come from the stewards' office in the past, particularly against him, and I think they'll be mindful of what he has said, and they will want to be seen that it's fair and it's transparent and it's the same for everyone. I think that's the key to it. So the stewards will make their decision, and I think it would be quite wrong of me or indeed any of us to wait. We just have to wait and see. OK, just to remind you that if you're tuning in for Saturday Catching, it follows us straight after here on BBC One. But talking of being in hot water, Jenson Button, is he in trouble? Let's get his thoughts. Here's what he thinks.
Jenson, just tell us about your qualifying. First of all, let's ask if you were passed when Massa was heading off, because our commentators were saying there was a yellow flashing board, but it was actually, had you gone past it?
No, he was heading into the gravel, I think, as I was coming up to it. So I saw the tyre marks, I saw the smoke, and then I saw the yellow flag, but I was actually in the yellow flag zone already, so we'll see what happens. But I backed off. And yeah, I hope it's enough.
Just tell us about your qualifying. You left it late. You were obviously hoping to have a better run than in Q1, because that looked a little bit tight out there. Were you happy with your car today?
No, not at all. I mean, this morning the car felt great. The pace was good and the car just felt good. This afternoon I just couldn't find any grip. On the prime tyre especially. Nowhere on the prime tyre, but even on the soft tyre. Sorry. On the hard tyre I couldn't find any grip, and on the soft tyre the same. So I didn't really get a clear lap either on either of my soft tyre runs. The traffic's been terrible out there. I think because the tyres aren't working on the first lap, people are trying it and then backing out of it, so there's cars everywhere.
So what are your hopes for tomorrow? There's a few penalties that are being taken, a few people shifting up and down the grid. What would be a good result for you? Podium?
Yeah, I think I'll end up 4th tomorrow. So.
Very precise.
Yeah, I think I am. So, yeah, we'll see. I mean, at the moment, I've got to work out why I can't find a balance. And then hopefully we'll have a better race than qualifying, because it was a disaster qualifying, really. So, yeah, the car felt good on high fuel yesterday, and I'm hoping that we have that balance tomorrow.
Well, it wasn't only that incident that was causing Jensen problems there. We could hear him talking about the car having problems, particularly the tyres as well, on the softer tyres. He did mention, though, that he saw the incident, then saw the yellow flag, obviously, in front of the incident. The point, I guess, that the stewards will make is that he wasn't to know that there wasn't something else that had already happened around the circuit. So they want to see that a driver reacts to a yellow flag, regardless of other things that they can see.
Yes, but there's another aspect too to that, Jake, that we have to add into the pot if you're going to have the negative side. The positive side is that the marshals put the wrong flag out. You know, they had a flashing yellow, and clearly it should have been a green. So, yes, on one hand, he was not to know what was good round the corner, and I take your point on that, but at the same time, you can exonerate yourself to some degree by actually saying, well, hang on, guys, the flashing yellow is not what should have been there. It should have been a green flag. OK, well, with the penalty that awaits Lewis Hamilton, Jensen's going to move up to fourth. He thinks that he can finish fourth. The question is, will he get a penalty? We'll discuss that a little bit more in detail. But first, let's go back to the reason why we're talking about Jensen and his moment. It's because of a big incident involving Felipe Massa making his way around the middle sector of the lap, coming up towards turns 10 and 11. He takes the right-hander, a huge clunk there into the curb, breaks the suspension on the car. Why did it happen? Driver error, car issue, track problem? Let's find out. Let's hear directly from Ferrari.
It's good to see Felipe on the back of the bike. He's okay. It was quite a hit. Would you expect the suspension to take that kind of hit or not?
Well, obviously not. We need to have a look and see what's fouled and why, really, before we can make any comment.
So what, to your eye, actually broke?
I don't know. I mean, it's lower wishbone or push rod, isn't it? So, I expect lower wishbone and then push rod. So we just need to have a look and see. Look at the bits. Look at the loads, because obviously you drop down off the end of the curb onto the big curb there. So we just need to see how high the impact was.
How was the session for Ferrari otherwise?
Yeah, excuse me, sorry, not too bad. I mean, I think it's all the same with everyone. It's, is it the first time lap on the tyres or the second time lap or the third? So it's been quite an interesting challenge. It's been quite a mixture of strategies. We were unsure if it was the first or the second. Which is why we obviously did the split of one-time lap and then two-time laps with both drivers. So I think in the end, it's hard to get the temperature on the first lap, so sensible to try and do the two-lap option at the end.
So whilst Ferrari are worrying about the fact that their car ended up in the wall, whilst McLaren are worrying about Jensen Button, Red Bull have got nothing to worry about when it comes to qualifying. A new record for them, 16 pole positions in just one season, and the man who gave it to them was Sebastian Vettel. We can hear from Sebastian now in the driver's press conference. OK, we'll hear from Sebastian in just a moment, but let's talk about him. An incredible performance, an incredible year for Red Bull, and 16 pole positions, something that's never been done in Formula One before. That's special.
Well, it is special, but are we surprised? Are we really surprised? I'm not, because I think the car first came on the scene at the beginning of the year. We knew Adrian Newey was delighted with the car, and it just went from strength to strength. My little surprise is, if I was a little bit negative with the Red Bull story, is that I'm a little bit surprised that Mark hasn't kept up with Sebastian as much as we'd hoped for, and we thought that maybe Mark would have
though, after Lewis's penalty tomorrow. He'll be alongside.
Yes, but I'm talking about in the championship. Okay. I wanted to see a fight and to see Sebastian just go way into the distance every time. I thought Mark, there was chances that he could hang on to him and fight. Yes, Marcus had a good season, but I think he'd be generally disappointed, because here's his teammate, and his teammate is the person everybody's talking about, and sadly not enough people talking about Mark. OK, show me your hand. Cross your fingers. Let's see if we can hear now from the boys in the driver's press conference.
So here we have the top three qualifiers in the Airtel Grand Prix of India. On pole position, Sebastian Vettel, Red Bull Racing, 28th career pole and 12th this season. Second, Lewis Hamilton, Vodafone McLaren Mercedes. And third, Mark Webber, Red Bull Racing. Sebastian, a new record, 16th pole of the year for your team, and you personally seem to have something in hand there in qualifying.
Yeah, it was, I think, a good session for us. Obviously, a new circuit, new venue, tricky for all of us. First time round in qualifying. I think it was tricky. We've seen all weekend with the dust on the track. So in the end, we ended up with one racing line clear of dirt, and just a little bit out makes you lose a lot of time. So it was quite tricky. But I think we managed pretty well. The car was fantastic, to be honest, since yesterday, this morning as well, and throughout qualifying. I think in the end there was a little bit left in the first sector. It's quite tricky. I think we saw some people going for 2 time laps, others only 1. I think then it becomes a bit trickier to hit the first sector. There's a long straight as well after turn 3, so you want to make sure you don't lose time. So no, I'm extremely happy. It's good to be here. I think it's a very interesting race, a challenging circuit. Looking forward to tomorrow, and yeah, first time in India, so excited to race tomorrow.
Well done. Lewis, it was close after the first run in Q3, then you aborted your final run, and of course you're moving 3 places back on the grid as well. So your thoughts really on to qualifying today?
It's interesting how you smile about that. No, really, it's been a good day for me. I think we're really surprised. I think I'm quite surprised that we were able to split the Red Bulls, and that's it's great to be on the front row in terms of how we qualified. And of course, we had the penalty, which is a bit of a silly mistake for myself, but I paid the price. And tomorrow we still have good race pace, which we can, and it's a long race with 2 DRS zones. So overtaking should be a lot easier than perhaps in other places. So I'm still optimistic, regardless of where I start.
Mark, Red Bull looks good around here. Your thoughts on the race tomorrow and what you can do on this new track?
Yeah, as Seb said, I think it's been a good challenge for all of us, new venue. Tricky to work out the right strategy for qualifying. Obviously, the tyres weren't easy for one-time lap, so we had to work out how we're going to do the strategy. Obviously, lots of teams tried different styles to get the best lap time out of the car. First sector was tricky to get right on one time, so yeah, I could have done better in the first sector on my first lap, or my only run basically, because then I got yellow flags obviously with Felipe, so I couldn't do my second lap. But overall, good job for the team. Come to a new venue and prepared well, so I've laid a good foundation for a very good race tomorrow.
Well done, Mark Webber. He was strong, and in the event will actually start alongside Sebastian Vettel, because once again he is the man on pole position. Lewis Hamilton, although it says second place there, he does take a 3-place penalty for being a bit naughty earlier on in the weekend, so he will move back, and that means that it will be Mark Webber alongside his teammate Sebastian Vettel at the front. We'll hear from Fernando Alonso in just a few moments, and behind Fernando we've already heard, haven't we, from Jenson Button. He struggled this weekend, particularly with the softer tyres, and will he face a penalty? We'll find out a little bit later on. Felipe Massa was setting the pace earlier on in the weekend, but he couldn't live with his teammate today. Nico Rosberg finishes off the guys who set a time in that final session. He starts 7th, just in front of Adrian Sutil. Well done to him. I'm sure the crowds enjoyed that as he drove around here for Force India, and we saw the congratulations, didn't we, in the garage for Sebastian Buemi and Jaime Alguersuari, both cars into Q3 as Toro Rosso chased 5th place in the championship. They're really turning on some great form, aren't they? Vitaly Petrov, he starts 11th, with Michael Schumacher getting knocked out of the final part of qualifying, starting 12th. Paul de Resta, out-qualified by his teammate, starts 13th alongside Pastor Maldonado, who once again is in front of his teammate Rubens Barrichello. Bruno Senna's had a few incidents this weekend. He starts 15th, and then it's Kamui Kobayashi and Sergio Perez for Sauber alongside each other. And the same applies to Team Lotus, Jarno Trulli and Heikki Kovalainen. And then for the first time ever, HRT have both out-qualified the cars belonging to Virgin Racing. So congratulations to HRT and Timo Glock. Bad gearbox, bad qualifying position, a bad place to start the race from tomorrow. But the best place to start the race from is first. Christian Horner's with us, and another congratulations. You've got both of the championships, and now you're breaking the records as well. 16 pole positions in one Formula One season. Never been done before.
I mean, it's a fantastic achievement for the whole team, and a great lap from Seb again, and to have Mark right up there as well is a fantastic performance, and we're just going to keep pushing, all the way to that checkered flag in Brazil.
Great, brilliant news for all the teams around you.
Very good news for Toro Rosso, and we're going to come back to it. No surprise that they're 9th and 10th. Surely your technology is creeping down that end of the paddock.
Well, we're not allowed to. We're not allowed to,
When did that ever stop you before?
Well, they're obviously Red Bull young drivers, so, they're talented young drivers, and obviously the team's making progress, which is nice to see. And to have 4 Red Bulls in the top 10, I think, is a first for us as well. So it's a great day for, for Dietrich Mateschitz as well, to see his 2 teams right up there.
Maybe just explain a little bit the tyre strategies that we're seeing out there. The softer tyre, the one that was really giving a big performance advantage, it didn't seem that you get it switched on in one lap. How was it for the Red Bulls? We're hearing that you were in a better position to get the tyre switched on.
Well, I think with the first lap, because the first sector is basically just 3 straights, it's very difficult to get the tyre turned on in time for a one-time lap. So Sebastian was adamant that he could do it. So that's what we did with him, and it worked out well for him. With Mark, we decided that to take the first lap as a warm-up lap and try and nail the second lap, which he did a great job in doing. So it was a matter of sort of splitting our options. And in the end, it worked out pretty well.
And Christian, I know how keen you are to have Mark Webber finish second in the championship. So to have Mark starting just behind Sebastian, is that the perfect position for you if you need to make a decision at some point on the pit wall to help Mark leap in front of the guys around him in the championship?
Well, I mean, I think, you know, the focus for us this weekend is just to let the guys race. You know, Mark doesn't want to be gifted that second place. You know, he wants to win a race certainly before the end of the year. So, you know, we're going to let the guys, you know, get on with it as we have, you know, during the rest of the season. Our priority as a team is to try and win the race, and whichever driver that may be would be a great result for us.
Okay, well done. The perfect start to the weekend. The first team ever on pole position here in India, and I'm
Thank
sure
you.
you'll enjoy that one as well. Thanks a lot, Christian. Let's hear now from Fernando Alonso, qualified fourth, starts third.
Fernando, not too many smiles at this second. Are you happy with how things went today, though?
Yeah, I think it was a good qualifying for us, or a good weekend so far. With Felipe yesterday in top of the times on free practice, and today with not many problems in qualifying. It was a smooth Saturday for us so far, so happy with the car, and obviously being in front of Jenson is quite a nice surprise, because we normally are fifth on Saturday, so being fourth is okay, and after with Luis' penalty, starting third tomorrow will be even better. So normally our strongest points are on Sunday race pace, so starting third, it looks more optimistic for tomorrow.
Do you think you were hampered in the fact that you had to take off that front wing from this morning and go back to the Korea wing?
I don't think that I went back. I think it's the same wing physically.
It would be the same regardless?
Yeah, well, no, I think obviously we need to see tomorrow. Yesterday we had some issues with the front wing, some vibrations, but we did some work overnight to reinforce the wing, and this morning it was okay, and in qualifying it was okay. We need to see how the race developed. Maybe in the last couple of laps we still have some vibrations again.
Well, Ferrari clearly using the final few races as an important test session ahead of next season, bringing on new parts and struggling with the front wing here. One man who wasn't struggling in that session, though, Sebastian Vettel, another pole position for him, David. How did you read the session from up in the commentary box? Because it was shaping up to be a brilliant Q3, and it just kind of fell away a bit towards the end, didn't it?
Well, it did need, and that's why I was asking Christian about how the teams were exploiting the use of these faster tyres. There's such a big gap between the prime and the option tyre, more than a second and a half. And interestingly, most of the teams were struggling to get the tyre working on that first lap. So they were having to carry the extra fuel penalty. And of course, even though you're trying to put heat in the tyre, you're losing a little bit of performance in other areas, notably, I would say, in traction. And Sebastian was clearly confident he could get it switched on and deliver what was, you know, a sizable gap to pole position. But now we have to focus our attention on tomorrow and race strategy, the track rubbering in, and how they use the tyres. And I think that Korea showed us that what they predict tonight isn't necessarily what's going to actually play out tomorrow.
Well, thank goodness for that, because, you know, we don't want a procession, and Sebastian, in recent races, you know, he's been good, but he's had people challenging him, and with this kind of gap he's got from pole position to the next man, I am concerned that he'll just vanish away into the distance, and we're looking for the crumbs. And I just hope that it is an exciting race. India deserves it. They put a remarkable show here together for us, and let's hope, fingers crossed, that we have an exciting race.
Okay, that's what's happening at the front, but in the midfield they've got all of those usual things to worry about, along with all sorts of traffic in the midfield. Today Michael Schumacher qualified 12th. Vitaly Petrov just in front of him has a 5-place grid penalty owing to him from previous discretions. Let's hear from Michael Schumacher, who will now start from 11th.
Michael, just tell us about your qualifying today.
Not very special, I would say. Started already Q1 that traffic wasn't ideal for us, but then in the final moment got again a vibration on the tires that I don't understand why we occasionally seem to have that happen in Korea, happen now again. But still doesn't explain the difference to Nico. Is not only to be seen in the vibration, but certainly something in how you prepare the tires, because especially the first sector was pretty dominant. That's just acceleration, braking. I mean, there's not really anything to do with much of driving skills. Actually, the mid sector, where it's difficult, we've been all weekend very strong. So we need to understand this and get on top of it, and it should be okay.
The difference between yourself in practice yesterday to today seems quite big, so it's obviously a surprise to you.
You mean forward?
Well, you seemed completely on it yesterday, whereas the gap to Nico seems bigger today. So does the car feel different?
No, I mean, if you look at this morning in the long runs, it was all normal. It's just the qualifying, it's the one lap preparation, and again, I have no other explanation than getting the tires sorted out to get working for the whole lap properly. And I've seen occasionally some weakness on that on my side, but I haven't yet fully understood why.
Okay, difficult weekend so far for Michael Schumacher. That little indiscretion by Vitaly Petrov helped Michael, also helped Paul di Resta. He's right behind Michael. He also moves up one place.
Well, Paul, 13th place start tomorrow. A few people have penalties, so it might change slightly. But how do you feel after today's qualifying?
A bit disappointed, really. This morning was quite good. They just struggled with a bit of understeer in the high speed. We couldn't really fix it during that session. I think conditions cooled a little bit, which maybe didn't help us. We're in a reasonable shape, I think, over long distances, but I think qualifying was going to be quite crucial, and unfortunately we didn't maximise it.
How much is the track changing every time that cars go past? Because obviously, being such a new track, it will evolve.
I don't think it's evolved quite as much as we thought today. Yesterday there was obviously a big evolution, but we're not seeing too much other than that. It just seems to be everybody putting all their eggs in the basket and taking the fuel out, and that's where you're seeing the increase in lap time.
Okay, big day for Paul di Resta tomorrow driving for Force India. If you've only just tuned into the television because you want to watch Saturday Kitchen, let me convince you that you missed something special today for qualifying for the first ever Indian Grand Prix, and you can see it repeated at 1 o'clock right here on BBC One and BBC One HD. Saturday Kitchen is on straight after us, and we're back tomorrow morning once again. You'll have to set your alarm, 8:30 BBC One and BBC One HD, and gentlemen, it's set up very nicely for the race.
It is, and it's a great occasion here. Everybody is so excited about this race. I just hope that Vettel stays with the pack and gives us an exciting race.
We know that Alonso is going to be quick in the Ferrari. Yeah. Hamilton's going to be fighting back from that grid penalty. Can anyone stop Sebastian Vettel? It'll all come down to the start and tyre strategy.
It's going to be interesting, isn't it? And I hope that you tune in and join us for that. Of course, there are always difficult reasons to set your alarm clock for 8:30 on a Sunday, but I think a good one is the first ever Indian Grand Prix. New fans, a new country, a new circuit, but the same old team and the same old man on pole position. Bye-bye.